What's up, Will?
Welcome to the NFL Roundtable Talks. I got a few friends with me. I got B. Strilla the Thriller. I got Will Vold. And I got Michael Johnson, Mr. Viking himself.
Look at that, dude. I ain't seen that dude in like 5.5 million years.
Look at this small bearded Ryan Day.
He isn't always
Damn.
What up, guys?
How you been,
What's
brother?
up, Coach Day?
Been doing good. Been doing good. I'm on cooking duty tonight, so you got to bear with me.
No
Wife
problem.
had a bunch of doctor's appointments today,
Send
so
us
she's not
food.
feeling up to much.
Mhm.
So firing up the Weber and doing some chicken leg quarters. So
Send us some food.
Oh, gotta ask. What'd you think of the Vikings draft?
I liked our first pick. I think I would have concentrated a little bit more in our secondary. You know, I mean, the cornerback out of Michigan just sat there. I get what they're thinking with his knee injuries and is problematic with injuries, but overall, I'd probably give it about a B plus. You know,
I think almost every team in the North got to be
yeah.
Yes. A second.
myself. But tonight we're going to ask, what 4 teams do you think had the best draft? Your top 4 teams. I'm going to start with you, Mike.
Top 4 teams in the draft. I'm gonna have to go with Jacksonville just because of the Travis Hunter, pick. I mean, he's gonna bring eliteness, to the team right away. I'm gonna stay in the NFC. I'm gonna go Detroit, Minnesota, and finally, I think that honestly, Chicago, finally kind of did a little bit of good stuff with their offense and defensive line.
Nice. Good picks.
All right. Smoking Dad enters the chat.
That was coordinated.
Yes.
Was coordinated.
Hey, B and I's got it pretty down. The only time he messes up is on the ending. He might go 5 beats too far.
No, JP, I'm afraid I'm going to go and just fall off the screen and be like, where did I go?
It's happened before.
It has.
It'll happen again. I've seen people do it. That being said, B, what are your top 4?
I gotta go with Philadelphia. They stole a couple of picks. They got a good linebacker that nobody picked up, and Philadelphia is just being Philadelphia. It's just like players just fall to them for some reason.
A genius.
The dude is just awesome. I also probably would have to give, as much as it pains me to say this, but it probably ain't going to do anything with it because they're just Cleveland. They had a pretty good one.
Sorry.
Who else?
Ooh.
The Giants didn't do too bad. They got Scatterboo. That's probably one of the underestimated running backs. Yeah, they got some pretty good picks there. And probably my 4th one would be Fudgicle sticks.
Go ahead and say
Never heard of
Minnesota.
that
I know you
team.
want to.
Don't you dare say the team I'm thinking of.
I would say bunch. I would probably have to go with, let's say, Giants, Cleveland, and Philadelphia. Ugh. I really wasn't high on a lot of teams picking, but
Steelers had a pretty good draft too.
Yeah, they did.
you know what? I was just gonna say that too. Steelers had a pretty good draft because they got the linebacker that we thought we were going to get,
Jack Sawyer,
the Jack Sawyer. Yep, and then they got Harmon. Harmon is a beast.
No.
And I think they got one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the draft too, Will Howard. So I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh on that. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Will.
Scatterbo reminds me a lot of Hillis. If you look at how he was, I mean, and look at the career Hillis had on a crappy team. So I think Cam Scatterbo is going to come in. That's who I wanted the Vikings to get, and he went late enough. We could have got him, but you know, Jeremy and I talked about that. That dude's just going to run over people. I mean, he is. I'm gonna call him right now. He's white chocolate, bro. That dude is going to run over everybody.
Yeah, well, I think he's good. Will, who's your four?
I'm just doing something real quick. Let's see. I'm going to go. Sorry, I have to do research real quick. The Giants. I love the Abdul Carter pick. He's a great player. You got him on the defense now with Thibodeau and Lawrence, and that defense is only, and Burns, that defense is, and then Jackson Dart. And then you got Eagles. Howie Roseman knows how to trade for players and get players to be on his team. I got the Ravens. That Starks guy's a stud. That Mike Green guy, we'll see what's up with him. But to have Starks alongside Kyle Hamilton, golly. And then I would say this was tough, but I would say, man, I was between so many teams. I don't know why. My mind says the Bills. I thought they had a pretty solid draft. But that's my top four.
That's fair.
They didn't address everything they needed, but they got some defensive players that can fight through the trenches.
Okay. Well, I have your Panthers as one of the best drafts. I thought they did very good in a draft. The Patriots, the Buccaneers, the Steelers, and my honorable mention is both the Eagles and Ravens.
Yeah, I got Bucks as honorable mention. That Egbuka pick was,
dude. Abuka is going to be an instant plug and play.
He's going to be number 2.
And he's going to be the number 3. He's going to be the number 3. The Godwin, you are not putting a bet in the 3.
No,
with Godwin still.
No, you're not gonna push, Thielen or Godwin, aside. It is gonna be what it is. So
yeah.
Hey, I wanted to say good news is I'm $6,800 in debt now, but I got a Rottweiler that's gonna live. So
all right. Oh yeah. Yeah. Good for the pooch, man. That's good stuff to hear, man.
God, he's such a meathead. But he's getting back to his normal dumb self. But oh my God, bro, it got a little hairy there for a little bit. I was really concerned. I was looking into crematoriums and everything else because it had a bleak outlook. But I found a good old country vet out in the middle of nowhere that brought him in at 3:00 in the morning on a phone call and said, "Be here in an hour and I'll save your dog." and I was there in 45 minutes from an hour and a half away, and he did exactly what he said. So,
Oh my God, dang.
Boy,
That's crazy.
those dog angels are looking over that dog.
boy, I'm
Yeah.
telling.
So,
And as you see, I got the ticker going down there. But as you're watching across the 30 people that are watching across the different platforms, make sure you hit that like button. If you're in a group that I don't belong to, that's not going live to, please share. And of course, watch.
What
That
are you
being
doing, man? What?
so,
help.
Bishkilla, who shit the bed?
Cincinnati,
Yeah.
they shit the bed. Bad. I was not a fan. I did not like who the Titans picked. I think Cam Moore was a reach. I don't think they should have got him. You're not going to take a chance. You're taking a chance. The whole thing's just messed up for the Titans. I don't like that pick. Who else I didn't like?
Texans.
Yeah.
Hey,
The Texans went the worst. They went the worst. That's for sure. I gotta say, probably. I'm going over everybody's list here. Let's see what I got.
No, I had to do that hours ago. I was like,
the Saints.
It was such a weird draft. That it was. Because the players weren't the greatest players to be drafted. That's for sure.
Next year will be cool.
I don't think the Saints did that bad a job, in my opinion.
I
think they did pretty well. Atlanta, I'm gonna say they had a bad draft because they really reached for that damn defensive end at the end. They gave up a lot of stuff for that guy.
God, what's his name? JP, who did Atlanta get?
That was Pierce.
Pierce.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
They gave up a lot for him.
They gave
Jacksonville, I would say too, because they got a lot of they gave a lot to Cleveland for that Travis Hunter pick. Let's see, Denver. Kansas City didn't have a really good.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Kansas City, they replaced one offensive lineman, and then they kind of just drafted depth. They really didn't do anything. There was better players. There was better players that went after every single one of their picks, and I thought that was disappointing.
Yeah.
They got their stud in the first round, but after that.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Will?
The Bengals, the Saints, and the Chiefs.
One more.
I couldn't think of one.
Okay. What do you think, Mike?
I just couldn't think of one.
I think, me personally, Seattle was the one that kind of stuck out with me. I think they could have utilized a little bit. Cincinnati, Kansas City, and Green Bay really didn't do shit but one player, in my opinion.
Well, they're Packers. What do you expect?
So,
they didn't address a need for a receiver unless they needed to get Golden. So,
but
I think he's going to be pretty good.
I've watched Golden. He's hit and miss, but yet on the same turn, he didn't know who his quarterback was going to be from game to game, So he was up against catching balls from Ewers, catching balls from Manning, not knowing, what it was going to be. Yep. If he's stable and he's in a prolific offense, I think he's going to be okay. But he's going from the dude's been a hot state, player his whole life, and he's going to the frozen tundra.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only thing that kind of puts any kind of red flags up, for me. I was happy to see, Ewers actually get drafted. I was really wondering whether or not he was going to go. He turned down $8 million in NIL for $800,000. So
no, he's coming back.
Huh?
Kelsey already announced he's coming back on his show.
Oh yeah. So, we'll actually, see. It's going to be an interesting NFL season. I mean, in all fairness, though, this was probably one of the weakest drafts that we've seen in the last 10 years. I mean, it was horrible for the product that came out, in my opinion.
Yeah. You are definitely right about that, bud. If it wasn't for the fact that Shedeur Sanders, and there's something I read too about the draft, it was one of the most watched drafts, second most watched draft in history. And I attend that to the fact that Shedeur Sanders' name is attached to that, because that's the only reason why that kept us going.
The two biggest names were Sanders and Hunter, in this draft, and that's what kept it going. And that's all fairness, I mean, everything. I mean, I've read article about Sanders, and every single coach has said the same thing, that he's arrogant and that he's condescending, and they just didn't like what he brought to the table. And he's got that whole let's make it legendary. We don't need you to make it legendary. We just need you to show up and do your damn job. That type of thing.
And JB brought up a great point. And I tell people at work, who I talk sports at work with my coworkers, that guy who interviewed Sanders, and I've told my dad this because my dad doesn't watch the NFL draft. That guy came out of the meeting with Sanders and said, that guy is the worst person I've ever interviewed. He's the most self-centered dude, and says, you don't need to know who I am. You just need to know my dad is Deion Sanders. Dude, shut up. There's a lot of legacy players in the draft. Shut up.
Yeah, well, you can't show up to NFL interviews with music playing through your Beats headphones around your neck, taking phone calls, just not
playing Madden.
Yeah, and it's just a lot of things. I mean, I'm going to call it now. It is the 30th of April, 2025, and I'm calling it that he's going to be a Johnny Manziel.
I think so too. And you know what's so funny is, and JB said this also, and I agree, him following that far hopefully humbles him. Hopefully somehow humbles him.
It didn't.
It did.
But it didn't.
No.
It didn't. It would never.
He is Deion Sanders' 100% offspring. He's cocky. He's arrogant. But the difference between Shedeur and Deion is Shedeur went 4-8, and Deion did it.
The difference between Shedeur and Deion is Deion talked the talk and walked the walk. Shedeur hasn't even got to that point yet. That's the main thing.
You take Travis Hunter out of that equation, and Deion and Shedeur Sanders didn't even get drafted. He was UTA.
Exactly. Like, I wasn't happy the Panthers got Jimmy Horn. Everyone's like, oh, that's solid. I'm like, dude, I don't care for Jimmy Horn Jr.
So, my worst.
He's gonna be a good receiver. Will, trust me.
I hope so.
I think he'll be fine.
Your words, what, Jeremy? I'm sorry.
Just a second. Leave it to the Browns to be the team to draft him. Serves him right.
Yes, for real.
Browns being the Browns.
Hey, I think Gabriel's going to be a better quarterback for the Browns than Sanders is.
Dude, I love
Dylan. I said 3 names before the draft, and Biggie was there. I said Jackson Dart, Will Howard, and I said Dylan Gabriel looked like the best guys to me. And then I found out about Tyler Kyle
McCord.
Shuck.
Even looks
His name is pronounced Shuck. Man,
Kyle McCord
looks better. I don't even know how the hell you pronounce that name Shuck when it doesn't sound like that.
It looks like show to me.
Mm-hmm.
It smelled like dough.
Yeah.
But anyways, my worst one, I'm sorry. At the very bottom, I put the Jags because they gave way too much in draft compensation to get Travis Hunter.
Yep.
You move up 3 spots and you gave up 2 firsts. Nobody gives up 2 firsts for 3 spots unless you're going all the way to 1.
Yep.
So, being the number 2, and then it wasn't a quarterback in the pick. That's what makes me think it wasn't worth as much as they spent. Because I don't think anybody ahead of him was taking Travis Hunter. I think they'd have fell to him at 5. It might have
No,
been iffy. It might have been iffy with not the Giant. Maybe the Giant, but I think they wanted Abdul Carter. I think they were going Abdul Carter all the way. I just do.
I think
Cleveland could have got him.
Yeah, I think if Hunter was there for the Giants, they would have passed on Carter and took Hunter because you're getting a 2-for-1.
That being said, the Bengals, the Chiefs, and the Browns. They may have made that defense nasty, but they took Shaduki Sanders.
Shaduki. Oh,
But
isn't that it?
in essence, they kind of, as much as we want to shit on the Browns.
Well, why not?
The Browns
on the team.
The Browns got a lot of compensation from Jacksonville. A lot of compensation for future picks, and which they need, because they need to build that team up after, they got it handed to them by Deshaun Watson because of their stupid mistakes. But anyway,
I think Watson's out. They've got 5 quarterbacks in that room, and I don't think they're going to bring Watson back. I think they're going to cut ties with him. He ain't going to be back this year, and it's going to be Armchair Joe, and I think Gabriel will be QB2, and I don't see Sanders making that team. I may be wrong, but we'll see.
The way the GM and the coach reacted to how Shaduki Sanders was at the presser, they weren't impressed.
Kevin looked like he wanted to puke.
Yeah.
He did.
Oh, breaking news. Did you guys read on NFL that the Cleveland Browns should be called the Cleveland James Houstons because they poop?
Yeah, that was my thing when he said they shit. I was like, that's right, because they got the shitty player on their team.
They got the James Houston. Houston, you just pooped yourself. We have a poop.
Yeah.
That being said,
I'm sorry.
now, who's your sleeper in the draft for the Lions, Bistrilla? Out of anywhere after 4th round.
You know who? We got the same player.
Okay.
We got the same player.
I'll just go to Will. Who's yours for the Panthers?
And the Lions? No.
No, Panthers.
Oh. Ooh. The guy I like is Princely Mahalamahea or something like that.
Yep, that's it. Very well done. Yeah, that's how they said it.
I like him because I'm not saying he's gonna be, but his pro comp is Brian Burns.
Every time somebody says one of those names, I go, Hakuna Matata.
Yeah, for real.
I feel like doing a lot, being in an aloha,
Yep.
Aloha.
Okay.
Yeah,
Michael Johnson. Okay. Michael Johnson, who's your sleeper pick?
I kind of got 2. I'm going to go with the wide receiver out of Maryland, just because that I think he's going to put Naylor for a run for, the 3rd spot. And then they invited Randy Moss's son, to the rookie mini camp. I think he's going to end up making the team. Not just because of legacy, but he's actually a really good wide receiver.
Right.
I only know his son Thaddeus. He has another son.
No, he's got another son that played for Hawaii.
Yeah.
Speaking of Maliula.
Yeah. And if you look at the tape with him, he's lanky, he's tall, he's fast. I mean, he's
Randy Moss part 2.
He's like Randy Moss 2.0, where Thaddeus is a tight end, and he's a little bit bigger. But his other son, I think, is going to end up making the team.
Yeah, cool. That's why I didn't think that Travis Hunter should have went that early.
Yeah,
he gave up a lot of yards in that league where nobody plays defense, and he was supposed to be the best defender.
Yeah,
it's the Big 12, bro.
And people keep thinking that Colorado had one of the worst defenses too.
Yeah,
I mean one of the worst.
I don't know which writer it was, but they said if you put Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter in the ACC or the
Big Ten or the
Big Ten or
any
SEC,
of them, yeah, they're mediocre at best.
They were mediocre in a bad conference.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they were.
And even you look at Max Brommer, the quarterback from Minnesota, he even got drafted.
I
mean,
love
and
Brom.
this guy, I cringed every time I had to watch him play. But he had better numbers, a better, score and everything else than Sanders did. So hell, the quarterback from North Dakota State University has a higher Wonderlic score than Sanders did.
They didn't do Wonderlic this year.
Yeah, they just do an aptitude test now. It's not.
They didn't.
You mean Raz? No, it wouldn't be Raz.
No, it wouldn't be Raz because he'd have had to actually do the combine or the pro day in order to get one.
Yeah.
But that being said, mine
or the
and
PFF
B's,
grade. I'm sorry.
Mine and B's in the 7th round out of Boise State, the first Egyptian drafted to an NFL team. It is Ahmed Hassanin, defensive end.
He's
23. Hey,
sorry.
23 sacks in 2 seasons, double digits both seasons, 10 in one, 13 in the other, 32 tackles for loss, 18 QB pressures this past season, and he led the team in tackles and was that conference's defensive player of the year in an offensive conference with good offensive line.
Yeah, he's a stud.
So, and I loved what he said to Dan Campbell. And then right after he gets drafted, he gets engaged.
Beautiful.
I mean, I'd say that to Dan Campbell too, but
I agree. Colorado players haven't transitioned well. Rashawn Salem, Michael Westbrook, Chris Noel, really high picks from Buffs over the years. Also Ray Caruth. Ray Caruth.
Ray Caruth is out there murdering them.
Yeah, wasn't the last good one out of there? the last good player to come out of Colorado, was it not Cordell Stewart?
Cordell Stewart.
Cordell Stewart. Yep.
You know who's decent? I'm not saying
so
it was great.
He actually told Campbell on the phone, Ahmed Hassanin, he goes, "Sir, I will do anything you ask on this field, up to and including dying on the field for you."
Dang, I love it.
And it goes right back to the culture, JB.
Yep.
The NFC North is building culture, and where everybody else isn't doing that. Right. They're building generational talent out of that.
Now, I saw that the Lions kind of did lateral move this year. They didn't really lose talent with what they got, and they didn't raise the talent with what they got. They kind of stayed where they were at, but everybody else in our division raised up. Do you agree with that, Michael Johnson?
Yeah, I do. And Detroit didn't do a lot in the draft. They did some stuff in the offseason. Minnesota didn't do really anything in the draft. They did a lot in the offseason. It's going to be a competitive division, again. And we said this last year, guys. It's going to be Minnesota, Detroit for the next 5-6 years for what they're doing. And I like what Detroit did, as much as it pains me to say that. But you guys are looking at depth. Minnesota's looking at depth. We're not looking for home run hitters. We already have that in place. But we need the next man up mentality, and that's what you guys did. That's what we've done.
And I love the pre-draft pressure, because Brad on day 2 accepts the 5th-year option on JMO and Hutchinson and comes right out and just squashes those trade rumors about JMO right off the rip.
Mm-hmm. You know the best thing I liked about Minnesota, to tell you the truth, Michael?
What's that?
You had a great season before, off season before the draft. But the best thing you did was that trade for Sam Howell.
Yes.
That is going to be everything to J.J. McCarthy. We're going to see what J.J. McCarthy is made of. Because Sam Howell is a good quarterback. Very underrated quarterback, man.
Yeah.
Very underrated.
We had people telling us that he was trash. And you go, look what he did when he filled in for Gino. I said he was a backup. He had 1 week to work with the starters, played a couple games, and then boom, he was out.
Yeah. The only thing I'm concerned about with Sam Howell is his decision making and the interceptions, the happy feet, and trying to overextend plays.
You have KOC though.
Yeah.
But also remember, it was a tale of 2 halves in Washington his last year there as a starter.
Mm-hmm.
The first half of the league, I think he only had 4 interceptions at that time. He threw all his interceptions after the pressure started coming because they lost 3 offensive linemen to injury.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They got all the sacks and everything else from week 9 on.
I don't all I can say is I don't give a shit what happened in this offseason and this draft and everything else, but we did not take Aaron Rodgers.
You didn't let him follow.
That one.
You didn't follow the Brett Favre
Right.
plan with them.
The drama.
No.
Yeah.
God no. You know, and it
And
was
for that, you're getting the second one of these in your lifetime. Skull.
thank you.
Hey, Jeremy, didn't you say as a
How
joke
about all
during the
that?
draft when the weather was like it was getting darker? You're like, oh look, Green Bay's doing a darkness retreat like Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Green Bay is.
but I don't know. It's going to be interesting, you know. And like you said, Sam Howell coming to Minnesota. As soon as he found out he was coming to, you know, when he was
Caleb
coming to
Williams.
Minnesota, did you guys see what he posted on X?
No.
Thank God.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go to work.
Mm-hmm.
Good for him.
You know, and that's a nice thing about Minnesota now. I mean, you guys, Detroit has had this for the last couple of years where players want to go to Detroit.
Yeah.
Where Detroit and Cleveland were places you went to die. You know, your career was at an end. Minnesota was the same thing. You know, washed up quarterbacks, Warren Moon, you know, people like that, you know, last hurrah. People really want to go to Detroit and Minnesota now. And when you see people get excited because they're taking a cut in pay, they want to go to a culture, it warms my heart, man. I mean, it makes me feel happy for the team I love.
Yep. And that's the culture shift that everybody's been talking about. You know, there was a time when you couldn't get players to come here without getting paid a bank.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same in Minnesota. It was the same for the Packers, really, for a few years.
Nah, fuck the Whackers.
Yeah, nobody gives a shit about them.
But everybody gets paid in Chicago because they always got a lot of cap room because they ain't done shit in years.
Yeah, I mean it's Chicago, you know. I mean,
They
ain't
got
nobody wanna
Caleb
go
and they
there
got a
to deal with that
BJ. I mean, you know,
But you know,
hand in hand.
Speaking of BJ,
I will say I wish Ben Johnson nothing but, you know, success. You know, he's a great guy. You know, he did great for Detroit. I don't feel he's going to have the success in Chicago like he did, you know, because he's dealing with too many drama queens and too much bullshit personality.
I think he will in a year or two, but not right away. Not this first year. I think
I'm
it's going
seeing.
to be a
I'm
missing year.
thinking we'll circle back to this in 2028 when he has his first winning season.
Ooh, you're going that far out. You're saying it's going to be 3 years for he touches a winning season.
Yeah, you got too many big heads in there.
Well,
I
mean,
sent him
to
the
be
link
fair-
and I pissed at him. This guy didn't show up tonight.
you know,
Tiny thumbs.
to be fair though,
Oh, hello, Kitty Ken. How are you
Meow.
right now? Meow.
Right, meow, meow.
but to be fair, I mean, Chicago has improved a lot of their areas, and Ben Johnson made it his destiny really to get that offensive line together, and that's really Caleb needs a strong offensive line because last year, I mean, he was sacked the most in the league, 72 to 75 sacks or something like that. He got that dude was seeing the ground more than
Actually, CJ
more than
Stroud was the
Scott's.
highest. He was second.
Yeah.
He was seeing the ground more than Scott's.
So Chicago improved their line. Yes, you are correct.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit improved their defense. Minnesota improved their defense. You know, so whatever you improved in Chicago, we've improved on our line, in our secondary, and everything else. So it's kind of a wash.
You know, and Detroit improved their O-line too with who they took. You know, Tate Ratledge and Miles Frazier are no slouches in this draft. This was a heavy, deep trenches draft.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it
saw
was.
You
And
saw
it was big in the offseason too. I mean, Minnesota's biggest pick that I liked the most was Fries. I think that kind of solidified our offensive line.
Who?
Fries from
Yeah,
Indianapolis.
Indianapolis. You got two Indianapolis guys, actually.
Yeah, we got two Indy guys,
I couldn't remember.
and then we got Jackson out of the draft. And I've watched Jackson. You guys know I'm a big Ohio State fan. I've watched Jackson.
Really? I didn't
Out
know
of what was it? What did they say? The 3 years that he played, he allowed 1 sack
Wow.
and 4 quarterback pressures.
Yep, and it was 10 pressures for Tate Rutledge and 1 sack in 3 seasons. And then Miles Frazier, his last 2 years, which is the only 2 years he was a starter, he gave up 1 sack.
Yeah.
So, when you talk about guards and you're talking about guys, like we didn't get Miles Frazier to the 5th round. You're talking about a 5th rounder that gave up 1 sack. You know what it reminded me of? Last year when we got Christian Mahogany, who didn't give up a sack.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeremy, you should tell Mike, because he wasn't there, about Tate Ratledge's thing where he's ranked in history.
Oh, for RAS, 4th out of every guard ever tested by the math bomb system from the combine. He tested the 4th highest in NFL history.
Can you guess
1980,
1, 2, and
since
3?
1987. Who do you think 1, 2, and 3 is?
I'll give you a
Guards,
hint for number
In
1.
guards.
Yeah, one played for one franchise for a very, very long time.
I'm gonna say, let's see. In modern era, how far back are we going?
All the way to 87 is your Grange. But
Ooh-wee.
most of them are modern era. One just
Yes.
retired. Yep.
Yes,
My dad just said one. One of them was Ragnow.
Ragnow.
Corey Stringer?
No.
No.
Corey Stringer was a defensive tackle anyway.
Okay, Homer.
But
One in Minnesota. I don't think it was a Minnesota one.
Marshall Yanda was number 1. Frank Ragnow was number 2. And Rob Haverstein, another Raven, was number 3.
Oh, Haverstein, yeah.
That's just insane.
So that's
like
the 3
Haverstein,
above
too.
him. Everybody else since 1987 ranked below him in RAS at guard.
Damn.
That's pretty
Well.
fucking good shit.
Yeah.
It makes
Let's
me
hope it
think
proves-
what John
like I
Hanna
said.
or Anthony Munoz would have been.
All that stuff is great. But I bring that shit to the pro level. That's what I want to
Amen.
see.
Yeah, exactly. It's still, even when they're that great, just look, Jeff Okuda had a great RAS. Chase
And
Young
where's he
had a
at now?
great Chase Young had a great RAS.
Sitting
Right
on a
there.
couch.
No, he is the dime back. He took over Greedy Williams' spot, who sucked too, with a great RAS for the Texans. Remember, he's their dime back.
Oh, I forgot he is.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
But that's all he's good for is a dime back, because he's only good in press man coverage. Everything else he sucks.
Jeff O'Booty.
Jeff? No, I think Jeff Okuda is now a Minnesota Viking.
Oh, he's a Viking.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that hurts.
That's why I said I pointed down to Mike because that's where he's at. He's in Minnesota
right.
now. What up, Rob?
Rob's in the chat. What up, Jagoffs? Hey, we gave some people some props tonight. But I hate when it's a short show. So now I got to talk about the other thing. Atlanta Falcons defensive coordinator, his son, got into the Atlanta Falcons list of prospects' phone numbers, stole a phone number, and called a prospect to prank him during the draft. Because of that, the NFL fined the team $250,000. Fined the DC another $50,000.
Money well fucking spent.
I thought it was 100,000.
Oh yeah, 100,000. Yeah, sorry.
And then supposedly Abdul Carter said he got a card.
Yeah, he got
call
Abdul
too.
Carter said he got pranked 5 times.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He got pranked. Shadur got pranked. Tyler Warren got pranked.
There was a guy that was a 5th round prick that got pranked like 5 times too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like the coming of the age. You got to get pranked. Everybody
Right.
gets pranked. You know, I mean,
The best one though was last night. Isaiah Bond, who turned himself in for sexual allegations, which means he's probably trying to get a plea bargain out of it, and got released on a $25,000 bond. He got called last night saying he was signed to the Cowboy
Didn't
as
didn't
a
the
prank.
old
I said,
didn't
man, did
one
they put him on?
so,
I said, man, did they put him on suicide watch?
Yeah, he'd probably be happy.
and
He'd be happy to
Isaiah
go anywhere
Bond did
right now.
so well, you know, in collegiate ball,
He did.
Mm-hmm.
and just
Yeah.
didn't
pissed it away.
oh, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now go ahead.
Wasn't there a guy for the Lions who used to prank call guys during the draft?
No, one of our current assistant GMs does it. It's Dorsey,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Ken
Is
Dorsey
it Dorsey? Don't answer
John
it.
John Dorsey,
or John Dorsey. I'm
Mhm.
sorry.
Yeah. I love that video. If it's Dorsey, don't answer the phone.
Yeah, he called up a team last year and said we're offering a Goff and 2 firsts for the number 1 pick.
I think the only thing that's good about this whole situation is that now you know how people we get comfortable in certain vices in our life, and then sometimes it takes us to get shocked to secure things again.
Yep.
I hate to bring up the worst thing in our history, 9/11, but we shored up a lot of security in this country because of that. It's not on that same level, but it's the same principle. That now everybody's going to have to put like locks on their damn tablets, and they're going to have to go through like 60 codes just to get into their tablets to make sure it's
You're
them.
not wrong.
All because one defensive coordinator trusted his tablet to be out in his home, and his stupid 21-year-old son came in there, grown ass man came in there and took that number off there and did dumb stuff with it. So now he's got to pay the price. His father's got to pay the price, that $100,000. I'd kick that boy out the house. You don't come back into my house until you give me my $100,000 back, either, bitch. That's what I would have told his ass. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, but he's probably going to make $100,000 off of TikTok views, because whenever you get over a certain amount, they start paying you. So it's all about clout. It's all about views. It's all about the gram. It's all about dumb shit. There's no fucking morals. There's no integrity left with this younger generation. If we would have done some shit like that with our dad, he would have took us out in the front yard and whooped our ass with a switch, a belt, a piece of fucking wood, a shoe, a
2x4.
flip flop, whatever.
Might have shot us.
Yeah.
I mean, the punishment, would be old school, but we wouldn't. First of all, if we would have had
We wouldn't
TikTok
have
back
done
in
it.
our day, we would have been kind of fucked up because we did
We
some
wouldn't
fucked
have
up
done
shit.
it because we were afraid of what our
I mean,
dad was going to do.
Yeah.
You know, the worst thing that happened to that kid is he got his credit card taken away.
Yeah, I don't think he'll even be able to take over Tom Kennedy's roster spot on the practice squad. That was the one pick at the end of the draft that was my head scratcher.
Mm-hmm.
Dominic Lovett. Other than that, I think it was a solid draft.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah.
That was fun
Patty
covering it all
Grimes.
through this.
What about the other players that were prank called? Yeah, we talked about them. It was
Yeah.
Tyler Warren, Abdul Carter, Shaduki Sanders. It was after we mentioned all of them. That's when I mentioned Isaiah Bond.
The difference between those players, though, and what happened to Shador is that came from inside a team. That's not ever been done before. It did basically people get prank called all the time.
Did you see what Rob said there?
And the bad part is that Shador is too fucking dumb to realize he got pranked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he actually posted about it right after it happened. He goes, "Oh, thank God."
Yeah, and he's
I'm
like,
paid too.
"Hey, you're gonna have to wait just a little bit longer." What did he mean by that? Bitch, you just got fucking pranked. Where's Ashton Kutcher? You should have been looking around, bro.
You know
For real.
what was the best part about Shaduki Sanders getting drafted where he did? Is he had to wait till after he fired his dad as agent to get drafted.
And the funny part about it is Dion back in 2018 said, "I love what the Browns are doing, but I wouldn't want to be a quarterback and go to that fucking team." And his son is on that team.
Yeah, I agree, Dan. Jeremy, can we start a GoFundMe for Andrew to get a Shiduki Brett Sanders
Oh,
jersey?
you see whose name it is? It's Paul Jones.
Oh my God,
weren't
we're
as
getting
synchronized then.
detergents.
Hey
Not
guys,
that time.
I'm gonna hop off here.
Yep.
I got to start cooking for my family. I
Okay,
appreciate you
MJ.
having me on. I look forward to next Wednesday.
Why?
The night was
Why?
going too good. You done fucked it up, JD.
Love you, Mike.
I like how he
Good night,
just
Mike.
threw that up there too. It was
I know.
awesome. That was just right on
Right?
time.
He was waiting till the end of the night,
Yeah.
but it
Yes,
was
I
like,
was. Yes,
he had
I
that
was.
shit on. He had that shit on preload. He was like, "I'm just waiting.
Mhm.
I'm waiting." And
I
boom.
wait. As soon as he said I had to leave, I was like, boom, there you go. Hey, if you were doing the show, you'd do the same thing to me.
Oh, absolutely.
Most likely.
Hey, I
Good
love
night,
y'all.
Mike.
I appreciate
But wait,
you
I
having
got
me on.
one more question. Why does this look like a retired TJ Hawkinson?
Because
It
it
does.
is.
Okay, just checking.
So I don't know. We'll see. You know, I mean, I think they're gonna end up restructuring Hawk, and then Metellus, I think, is what they're gonna end up, doing, here soon. So they're gonna shore up that defense, and I think that if they don't get something worked out with Hawk, that's why we took that tight end in the last round. So
Don't you know
Paul
what that is?
Jones.
Hey, that's
Yes,
the
I've
luckiest
heard about
trans
it.
man in the NFL.
Yeah, yeah, they're not wrong.
If he's not fully transitioned, he's having fun.
I hope nobody's picking him up.
Your fingers.
I would love to see his interaction with Caleb. Be like, "Can you say go Bears with me?" Yeah.
all right, fellas, have a great night. Thanks for having
You
me
too,
on
Mike.
next week.
Nice to see you again, man.
You too, B.
Grow that damn beard, man.
Man, yeah, I know. It's the first time in 20 years I knocked it
You're
off.
looking more like Baker Mayfield than
That's what
Ryan
she
Day
said.
now.
All right, brother.
Hey, you
Have a
can
good
call
one,
me
man.
Ryan Day. You can call me Baker Mayfield. Just make sure that check is made out to Michael Johnson.
There you go.
Yep.
I always say,
I
call
know
me what
that.
you want, but don't call me late for dinner.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Right.
JB,
Have a
you're
good
late
night,
for
fellas.
dinner.
Have a good night.
Yeah, bye.
But anyways, that every time we start doing that stuff where we talk about the gay shit in the NFL or whatever, or the stuff around it with the cheerleaders and stuff like that, I go back to that first young comedian special I watched with Rodney Dangerfield hosting it. It was called the ninth annual Young Comedians Show. And it started with Robin Williams' first attempt at comedy in that show.
Really?
Mhm.
Yeah, but he was doing the K-Tel super hits of 1982. I'm driving in my car.
Oh yeah, freaking Elmer Fudd. I forgot.
Well, anyways, after that, Bob Nelson comes out and he's carrying this suitcase and he opens it up and he gets out a helmet and two balloons and he starts doing this routine about college all-stars announcing themselves. And he comes out and he goes, "Hi, I'm Bruce Kowski, San Francisco Barber School, tight end. Next year, I hope to be a wide receiver."
I freaking love that.
So every time I hear a tight end called at the draft, that's what I think of.
Okay, well, that's probably my favorite sports sketch. My second favorite one is the Robin Williams golf, the origin of golf.
All right, let me tell you what we're gonna do here, lad.
Mhm.
We're
Big
gonna
Dan,
take-
that's funny,
We're
Big
gonna
Dan.
play
We're gonna
18
take a
of
stick
these.
and we're gonna whack a ball. You know, whack a ball, yeah, but it ain't gonna be a straight stick. It's gonna be a cricket stick.
Freaking love Robin Williams.
That's
Someone
funny
listen
as
to
hell.
Grand cheerleader for the pyramid cheer. They do the bottom person is gonna get a handful of sacks.
Oh God, no! Oh God, no!
or where the sack used to be.
Uh,
But
They-
anyway.
What's worse is if they don't make that jump to land on top of the pyramid and catch them in the sack.
Mhm.
Oh, jeez. God,
Dwarf
I'm
on
so
golf.
happy I
Yeah,
Oh
got-
yeah,
that's
that Dorf on golf. Yep.
You see what I
Um, And we're gonna play 18 of these. 18. Oh man, I'm so happy I came on.
No, it's
God,
not a
that was
big
so
hole.
much
It's a
fun.
tiny little hole, and it's gonna piss you off.
So, Jeremy, I want to ask you because we received the news hours ago too. Do you think Jordan Travis will go to the CFL or anything, or do you think he's just
I don't know. That was the
completely done?
craziest quit I've ever heard of. You just open. I'm done.
Yeah, like I get it. Didn't he tore his ACL? Wasn't it ACL or?
If we do it, I see it being around the $8 million mark, Dan, and a lot of it guaranteed.
I
That's
think
where I'm at on
ACL.
it. I think they didn't want to do 11 million. That's why they cut them, and it saved 5 million. And if they could get them for 8, they'll be happy.
Yeah.
I think what they did was they're waiting to. They got 23 million. I think they're waiting to see how much of the money that they're going to have to spend on the
Rookie.
rookies, obviously, and that might even put an odd man out. And if they have enough money left, they'll give that to Za'Darius. You know, because if they're poo-pooing away for $11 million, they'll probably get them if they want to get them back. They could probably afford 12 to 13.
Right.
Excuse me, B. It's not called poo pooing. It's called James Houston.
I think I said this morning by next week. I think it's going to be done within the next 2 weeks, and I think it's just because they're waiting to see what the top 3 picks get paid. I think that because the last 4 really don't get paid that much.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't you agree with that? Don't you think that's about how it goes? Get the
Well,
top
they're
3
gonna.
paid?
I would think they're gonna sign him before training camp.
Right.
That's what I think they're gonna do. Because he's got to get in there with the guys. He remember he came in the middle of the season, so he didn't have a chance to train with everybody.
And I loved what he did. He came in, he waited a week, he still went to the game and coached the guys up in the game versus the Texans. Remember, we were like dog shit in that first half, offensively and defensively, and he started
Goff had
talking to
4
everybody.
picks.
Yeah, actually, wasn't it 5 picks?
5, yes.
It was 5 picks in that game.
Yeah, that
What game is
I
that?
was throwing my
Versus the
glasses.
Texans. The Texans were just mollywopping us. They were intercepting everything except the kitchen sink.
I remember
Yeah,
that.
but that was earlier in the
so
season,
pissed.
Though.
It was.
That wasn't.
Well,
it wasn't.
no, it was like week 10. That was week
That was
8, 9,
middle
or
of the
10.
season.
It was middle of 10. It was week.
I think that was more like week 8 because Houston came way after that. He was
You want
after
me to-
that.
Trade deadline was week 9, and that was when we got Smith. So week 9 was the week.
And I'm not.
And you know what? They could actually even do a backloaded contract and extend it out like a futures thing, like they've done with a couple of the other players to keep the cap hit around 3 million, but give them 8-9 million too, where there's like 2 void years. There's all sorts of things they can do with it to negotiate or massage the cap.
It was week 9.
Yep. Yeah, 'cause that was the trade deadline.
Yep, I remember that. I was pissed. I was screaming at the TV.
Yeah, the first half it sucked big.
Week 9 was Green Bay.
What?
Yeah, week 9 was Green Bay. Week 10 was Houston.
So I knew it was the middle of the season, though.
Yeah.
I don't think they need him for 2 years. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I can tell it's been a long day.
Yep, same.
And it is about that time for me to do the sponsors. The fun part of the show.
Yeah.
We're going to start at the top.
Of course.
A Viking can get skull bug.
God, is that you? God. Yes.
FTP. Fuck the Packers.
Yeah, fuck them.
And last but not least, fuck the Bears.
What is he doing to that toilet seat? Poor toilet. No, I'm kidding. Not poor that toilet seat.
I hate the fact that toilet seat is pointed because it must hurt.
Yeah, very, very. A spiky toilet seat.
Well, I want to say thank you to the 52 people that were watching out there. We got our likes from Paul Jones and Dale Cox. So thank you, gentlemen. And those of you that liked it on YouTube, we appreciate you too. I saw Troy in there earlier, Paul Jones, Big Dan Davis. We didn't see some of the other guys, but it was great to see Smoking Dad, of course, and Oiler Titan. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Try every day to be a better person than you were the day before. That's